There have been a lot of evil people in history, but none more evil than Adolf Hitler. Born on April 1889 in Austria, Hitler would go on to become one of the most infamous leaders in world history. But growing up, he wasn't destined for greatness, which escalated over time from discrimination to organized violence to mass murder. Alright, now let's get back to the video. Adolf Hitler is a name synonymous with evil. His actions during World War II resulted in the deaths of millions of innocent people. But what was it about this man that made him so ruthless? Let's take a look at some of the darkest moments in his life to find out. Millions of Jews, as well as Roma, disabled people, political prisoners, and others were killed in the Holocaust. He believed that the German race was the master race and that other races were inferior. Millions of people were killed or imprisoned in concentration camps where they were subjected to forced labor, torture, and even medical experimentation. The atrocities committed by the Nazis during the war are simply too numerous and horrifying to list. He witnessed firsthand the death and destruction that war could bring and became convinced that Germany needed to expand its territory to ensure its survival. He refused to accept responsibility for his actions and never apologized for the atrocities he committed. He died in 1945 while hiding in a bunker in Berlin as Allied troops closed in on the city. This expansionist agenda would later form the basis of his foreign policy and ultimately lead to the outbreak of World War II. He was found guilty of crimes against humanity and war crimes and sentenced to death. Though dead, Hitler's legacy of hate and evil continues to live on. His name has become synonymous with tyranny, and his face is a symbol of everything that is wrong with humanity. We must never forget the atrocities he committed in order to prevent such horrors from ever repeating themselves. This belief would eventually lead him to implement one of the most horrific genocides in history. Hitler was also a fanatical anti-Semite. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more great content. Thanks for watching. His charismatic personality and powerful speeches appealed to many Germans who were desperate for a strong leader. Hitler's propaganda machine demonized them as a dangerous foreign element and blamed them for Germany's economic woes. This culminated in Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, when Nazis across Germany attacked Jewish businesses, homes, and synagogues. It was a horrific display of anti-Semitism and a prelude to the horrors that were yet to come. As Hitler gained power, he implemented a series of policies aimed at consolidating control and suppressing opposition. He established a totalitarian state in which the government controlled every aspect of public and private life. Anyone who opposed the Nazi regime was silenced, imprisoned, or executed. He blamed Jews for Germany's economic problems and claimed they were a threat to the German way of life. This prejudice would only intensify over time and eventually culminate in the Holocaust, one of the most horrific genocides in human history. Hitler also pursued aggressive expansion in Europe. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland, which triggered the start of World War II. In response, Britain and France declared war on Germany. Over the next few years, Hitler led Germany to conquer large parts of Europe. Though initially successful, the tide of the war began to turn by 1943 as the Allies pushed back from the West and the Soviet Union advanced from the East. In the final months of the war, Hitler refused to surrender even as Germany was collapsing around him. He retreated to an underground bunker in Berlin, and in April 1945, as Soviet forces closed in, he took his own life. His death marked the end of the Nazi regime, but the consequences of his actions would be felt for generations. Today, Hitler is remembered as a symbol of tyranny, hatred, and the dangers of unchecked power. His rise to power and the destruction he caused during his rule serve as a powerful reminder of how fragile democracy can be and how important it is to stand against hate and totalitarianism. In fact, his early life was marked by struggles with poverty and failure. He was rejected twice from art school in Vienna and spent time living in shelters. It was during this time that he developed many of the ideas that would later define his political ideology, including strong nationalist views, anti-Semitism, and disdain for democracy. In 1914, Hitler volunteered to serve in the German army during World War I. He was wounded in combat and awarded for bravery. After the war, he found Germany in political and economic chaos. During his time there, he wrote a book called Mein Kampf or My Struggle, in which he laid out his vision for Germany. This included ideas of racial superiority, the unification of all Germans, and expansion to the east. After his release from prison, Hitler focused on gaining power through legal means. And by 1933, amid economic depression and political instability, he was appointed Chancellor of Germany. Once in power, he quickly dismantled democratic institutions, established a dictatorship, and declared himself meaning leader. The Nazi regime soon began to suppress opposition, control the media, and promote intense propaganda glorifying Hitler as the savior of the nation. Many Germans felt betrayed by their leaders for accepting the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler saw an opportunity in this anger and resentment. He joined a small political group called the German Workers' Party, which he would soon transform into the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. By the early 1920s, Hitler had become the face of the Nazi movement. In 1923, he attempted a coup known as the Beer Hall Putsch in Munich. It failed and he was sent to prison. One of the most devastating aspects of Hitler's rule was his campaign against Jews. But before we continue, be sure to like and subscribe for more great videos. Thanks for your support. As a young man, Hitler was obsessed with the idea of German superiority. During World War I, Hitler served in the German army where he was exposed to the horrors of war. After the war, Hitler joined the Nazi Party and quickly rose to prominence. One of the first groups to feel the full force of Nazi persecution were the Jews. As World War II began, Hitler's aggression only intensified. He invaded Poland in 1939, France in 1940, and the Soviet Union in 1941. Despite the overwhelming evidence of his crimes, Hitler remained defiant until the end. After his death, the full extent of his crimes was revealed and he was tried in absentia at the Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunal. So, what do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments below.